Hello, and welcome to Finder and Keeper, the podcast, a podcast for the woman who is on a journey of finding herself and keeping herself. I'm Ashley, and I'm your host. Today, we're talking about something that I think we are all feeling, but none of us is going to say it out loud, so I'll be the one to say it. But we're talking about the art of conversation and how I believe that we as a society are starting to lose it. We talk all day, we text all day, we scroll all day, but are we really connecting? I don't think so. I genuinely don't believe that we are really connecting with the way that we are talking today. And if you are like me, which I know many of us have been in this situation, we're going out to dinner with friends, with family, with anyone. It could honestly even be work. And everybody at the table, maybe not everybody, but majority of the people at the table are just sitting there on their phones. They're talking a little bit, then looking back at their phones. And we're all doing it. I mean, I've done it before as well. But if you're one of those people that genuinely like to sit and have conversations, I'm sure you're feeling alone at those tables. Whether you're feeling alone just physically, but you can definitely feel alone emotionally. And it's not so much that anybody did anything wrong. You just genuinely feel alone. You don't feel like that you have anyone to connect with. So today we're going to talk about why these deep conversations are disappearing and how we can kind of work our way to get back to having real, genuine conversations. So let's get into it. I can remember some moments very clearly. I've had moments where I've been out with friends and family and we're all just chilling, nothing too dramatic, but we're all just chilling, having a good night out. But there's people on their phone, they're just scrolling and people are laughing. They're not laughing at you, they're laughing at something that's on their phone. And I'm definitely victim of that. Well, not victim, I'm definitely someone who has done that as well, but it's definitely something that I'm working to get out of because I genuinely enjoy when I'm sitting at a table or I have friends over and we're not even checking our phones. We're just in the moment actually enjoying each other's company. But when I am in that moment and I might be the only one that is not on my phone, it really makes me sit there and think, where is our generation going? Why are we so obsessed with connecting to everything on our phone but not connecting with people in our real world? Like, how are we connecting better to screens than we are to people who are face to face right in front of us? And I don't mean to sound judgmental, but I genuinely miss real conversations that you're actually talking about things that matter. You're not just doing it for the aesthetic. You're not just doing it for a cute little video, but actually sitting there and having conversations about what you might be going through, what you might be feeling, what is really going on in your life, and having someone to really connect and be listening to you in those conversations. And that moment really stayed with me. It made me realize, girl, get off your phone. It's time to take a break from those phones. It's time to actually sit down and have genuine conversations with people that you love. But the thing is, I don't think that we are bad at communicating. I think we're just bad at slowing down to have enough time to really listen and to be in those conversations. If you really think about it, the amount of things that we are seeing on a day-to-day, one, we shouldn't be seeing that much stuff. Two, we shouldn't even know this many people that we know. And three, the type of things that we are taking in on a day-to-day basis. Our parents or grandparents was probably getting that much information that we get in a day in a whole week. And it's because they didn't have phones. Well, they had phones, but they didn't have smartphones the way that we do. And we talk a lot about how we're overstimulated, we're taking in too much information, and we are overstimulated because, like I said, we're seeing way more than what our parents or grandparents would see in a week. It gets to a point where you have nothing left to give. I also think that we don't want to be the first person to be vulnerable. You might be sitting at a table with friends and everybody is kind of talking about maybe little things that they might be going through, but it's nothing really too in depth. And I think we get to a point to where we don't want to be the first one to say, hey, I'm struggling right now. I'm really going through it, because we want to kind of have this facade that everything is always going well, everything is good, and that you have everything going on. But the truth is, we don't always have it going on all the time. I think we could be afraid of feeling like we're too much, like we have too much going on, we're too deep, we're too emotional, we're too serious. And a lot of times that is not the problem. You're not too much of anything. You just need to be around people that genuinely want to hear what you have to say. Because in my opinion, real connection happens when somebody decides, I want to go first. I want to be the person to be vulnerable. I want to be the person who says, I don't have it figured out, and opens up the table for everybody else to say the same thing because everybody else is thinking the same thing. Another reason why I think that deep conversations are kind of leaving is because everyone is performing. People are talking to be perceived. They are not talking to actually let people know what they're going through. It's like Instagram. It's highlight reels. TikTok. It's just highlights. People are only talking about the good things that are going on in their life, or they talk about things so that, like I said, they can be perceived in a certain way. They're not really sharing what it is that they're going through. And I don't think that's our fault per se. Well, it could be, but we really live in a time where everything is performative. So, of course, a lot of times when people are having conversations, they're going to be talking about things that make them look good. They're going to talk about things that make them seem relatable. When you're really just performing, you're not talking about the stuff that really matters. And I think another thing is that we do not listen. We listen to respond. And you can feel when somebody is actually listening to what you have to say and when someone is just waiting to respond. And this does not always have to happen in arguments or disagreements, but it could just happen in normal conversations. Someone could be talking about maybe how their day is going or how their day might have went, and you already have in your mind of what you're going to say about your day. You might not even wait for them to finish talking about something that they went through before you start throwing out your own stuff. Or they might actually say something that will require a different response from you, but you're already saying, yeah, well, my day was such and such, when what they might need is for you to dig a little bit deeper into what their day consisted of. But I think we really need to learn what it feels like to have a real and genuine conversation. In a conversation that feels real, you will feel seen. And that is so important in this day and age, I feel like, because a lot of times there's so much going on in the world. Every single day, it's like a million things going on. And sometimes you want to sit down and have a conversation with someone and talk about what you're going through and actually feel like the person can see you. The person is at least paying attention and cares about what it is that you're going through. There also needs to be a space for honesty and not for you to have to be perfect. You need to have a space to where you can actually say how you're feeling. You need that space for that. You need space to not always have to be perfect. We are performing day to day when we are at work. We're performing when we are, taking care of maybe your children, just anything. You don't want to have to always perform in those conversations that are supposed to be with people that you are close with and that you love. And you also want to be in conversation with people that are curious. You don't want to always be in competition with someone. Like, if I'm talking to you about maybe something traumatic that happened, let's not go for trauma, okay? Let's not do that. Let's maybe open up a table for someone to actually tell you what it is that they went through, and let's not compete for that, because let me tell you, trauma for trauma is not something that you want to be competing with. Or if it's something positive, if somebody's telling you, hey, I just got a promotion at work, don't come back and tell someone, oh really, yeah, I just bought a new car or something like that. What? Let's leave room for curiosity. Let's ask questions. Let's not always try and one up somebody, no matter what the situation is. And then I also want to say, you want to be able to talk and have conversation with people that are present and not people that are performing the presence. Okay, so if someone is being vulnerable, if you are the person that's being vulnerable, you don't want to be in conversation with someone who is just pretending like they care, or you're talking about something that might have happened to you and they're just like, oh my god, like, I would never want this to. Let's not perform. Let's not be in conversation with people that are performing. And you will know, like I said previously, you'll know when you are talking to someone who is present, someone who is wanting you to feel seen. And you want to leave the conversation feeling understood, not drained. If you're having conversations with people and you feel like, my God, like that just took so much out of me, you don't need to have conversations with that person anymore. Because there is something that is pulling from you when you are having conversations with this person. You don't want to feel like you had to tiptoe over certain things that you said. You don't want to feel like they're not really listening to you. You don't want to feel any of that. If you're leaving a conversation feeling worse than you came into the conversation, that's not a person that you want to be speaking to. Those are not the conversations that you want to be having. We have to remember that a real conversation is not going to rush us. It's going to let us breathe. It's going to let us feel seen. We get to take our time. And it's going to feel good when you leave. You're going to feel rejuvenated. You're going to feel like, oh, I got something off of my chest. Those are the conversations that we want to be having. Because a lot of people feel alone right now. And it's not because they might physically be alone, but a lot of people are feeling emotionally and mentally alone. And it's merely because a lot of the connections that they have do not have depth to them. You can feel lonely sitting next to someone who refuses to emotionally show up for you. You can feel drained talking to someone who wants to be heard but does not want to hear you. And you can definitely feel unheard by someone who might be like, how was your day? And does not even wait for you to explain how your day was before they start talking or before they start checking their phone. Because the longer we stay in these conversations that no longer feel like we have a connection, the shallower the conversations will get. And now we're going to start going down a path of second guessing ourselves, second guessing our friendships, feeling like we're the only deep person in our friend group. And then we'll start isolating ourselves. And it's just going to be us by ourselves. And once all of those things happen, then you're tired emotionally. And that is just not a path that you want to go down. Because it's not you. It's your environment. Some people just do not have the capacity or the want to have real, genuine conversations. And that applies to if you are in conversations with friends or even a partner. If you're in a relationship with someone and you feel like you're the only person who has something to talk about, you're the only person who is really digging deep into these conversations, that is not the relationship for you. That is not the partner for you. Do you want to spend the rest of your life being with a man or a woman who just is not on the same level of depth when it comes to conversations with you? And I understand that some people can work their way there, but how long are you waiting for them to have those conversations? At some point, you're going to start having some type of negative thoughts about your partner, about your friend, about anyone. When you are constantly the one who is having deeper conversations, it is okay to feel like you need someone who is on that same level as you. Do not let people on social media, on the internet, it might be like, I guess I'm one of those people on the internet right now. But I'm telling you, don't let other people try and tell you that you can wait. The people just have to build it up. Some people just don't got it. Some people just don't have anything to talk about. And that is okay for them. But if that is not okay for you, girl, don't keep putting yourself through that. You are allowed to have and to want conversations that fuel your soul. Like, don't let people tell you otherwise, that you're asking for too much. You're never asking for too much when you want something for your soul, okay? You're never asking for too much. But if you do want to work on having those deeper conversations with people that are in your lives right now, there are a few things that you can do. Slow down. Just slow down. Give people the space to ask you questions. And for you, for us, ask better questions. Pull that out of somebody. If somebody's not asking it for you, start pulling it from them and help them to realize these are the type of conversations that I want to have. I want us to ask questions. I want us to be curious. Ask more questions. Listen without planning your response. Take any ideas, anything that's running through your head, just take it out. When somebody's having a conversation for you, don't think about what you might say back. Listen, acknowledge, and then come up with a statement. But let it just be. You don't have to have a response for everything. You could even say, okay, that was a lot. I don't have a response for that just yet. But let me think about it. If you gotta say that, you could say that. And don't be afraid to be the first person to open up. You do not know what being the first person to open up can do for other people at the table. It will allow them to see that this is a safe space and this is a space where I can be myself and I can really have those conversations that I want to have, those conversations that really feed my soul. And as always, choose people that choose you back. If you're having conversations with people who are not choosing you, that is a clear indicator of why you might not be having conversations that are really doing what they need to do for you. That could be why the person is not interested in anything that you are talking about. It's because they're not even interested in you. And that might be a tough reality to face, but unfortunately, it is something that we do have to come to terms with. Sometimes people are just not interested because they're not interested in you. And that doesn't mean that anything is wrong with you. It just means you need to get up and go to another table. So I want to ask you, when was the last time that you had a conversation that felt like it really fed your soul? Think about it. When was the last time you had that conversation? Who are the people that you're around that make you feel like you're being heard? Or who are the people that you really think are listening? And then check on yourself. Are you listening or are you listening to respond? Because sometimes we could also be a little bit of the problem in our own problems. Yeah, it's not something that we always want to face, but are you the friend that is listening to respond, or are you the friend that is actually listening? You might need to check on yourself, and that's okay. And also ask yourself, what part of you are you afraid to share? Because that little part that you might be afraid to share might just be what needs to be heard from the people around you. You don't know how you could relate to someone if you are constantly only talking about the things that sound good, the things that make you look good. Nobody is going to always relate to that. And that is not going to give you what you need. If I'm sitting here and I'm only talking about all the good stuff that's happened to me, who's going to talk to me about anything deeper than that? Nobody. Nobody wants to talk to someone who always seems like they have everything going on because they think that you can't relate. So don't be afraid to share. Share. And if you are sharing to the wrong person, you'll know. And you'll know, okay, note there, let me go somewhere else. And there's nothing wrong with that. Real conversations are an art. It really is. It's about being intentional. It's about being vulnerable. And it's about being present. You deserve conversations that make you feel understood. You deserve to be around people who ask you, how are you doing, and actually mean it. And you deserve to have conversations that meet you at the depth that you're willing to go.